There is a common misconception that meditation means not to have any thoughts anymore. In this video, I will share with you why this is not the case and how you can start to meditate in a practical way, as well as why the Buddha chose this technique as the core philosophy of his teachings. But who am I to talk about this? My name is Raphael. I studied psychology, and as a licensed naturopath, I traveled the world for the past years to study more about alternative healing techniques and other topics that are related to inner work. So let's start with what meditation actually is. Some of my teachers used some beautiful phrases to describe or define what meditation means for them in their life. One of them was, meditation is the art of non-reaction. By saying that, they mean when something is happening internally or externally to you. A person that meditates tries to stay calm and to observe the reaction without getting into an external reaction, which might be through words or actions. Another phrase that describes meditation really well is seeing things the way they actually are. The meaning behind that lies deep, and it means to look inwards with a certain kind of objectivity through which you can analyze yourself, your patterns. And that might feel uncomfortable in many cases because we want to be a certain way. And if we're not acting out like that, it has a certain reason. And to look at this more closely is one of the main things in meditation. So as you can see, it's not only about getting rid of your thoughts. It's about analyzing them. It's about not getting attached to them and seeing what's actually happening in your inner landscapes. In Buddhism, there are two main aspects when it comes to meditation. The first one is samatha, and it means as much as concentration. So through several techniques, you learn how to concentrate. And this is also the meditation technique we're gonna explore in this video. And the second technique is vipassana. In that technique, you're observing more your body, your mind, and you go deeper into several topics like impermanence or the theory of non-self. Those techniques we will discuss in further videos. There is an analogy which will help you to understand why the first technique is the foundation for all the different kinds of meditation. Because it's like training a puppy. First it will run away and do whatever it wants to do. In the same way as your mind works, probably at this current moment. Your thoughts are not organized, they are jumping from A to B. And to build some concentration, it needs training and discipline. One of my old Zen teachers was saying once that you should do this technique for the first 10 years before you jump to the next one. Well, this might not be the most practical thing to do for all of us, because we all want to achieve something, but it might be the more long-lasting path. So don't jump straight to the next technique. Start with the foundation and try to build something that's solid, on which you can build something. But why are we struggling so much with getting still? In our modern life, we get constantly bombarded with certain stimulations. Like when you open your phone, when you scroll through Instagram, every minute you have 5 different topics running through your head. If you look at what most people do for work, they have constant deadlines. They have to rush through their whole life. Buddha used to compare the untrained mind like the monkey mind that jumps from one branch to another. Let's come to the main benefits of meditation. You probably heard already a lot of them, and maybe you already experienced some of the benefits through certain practices that you were doing until now. So first of all, it will give you clarity. So instead of reacting immediately to something, you will hold the power within to sit still, to observe it, to think about it more clearly, how you want to react to a certain thing that's happening to you. This also goes hand in hand with emotional regulation. In these days, we often also talk about nervous system regulation, which is kind of the same thing. And a lot of those practices will also increase your compassion to all beings on this planet. So the way you treat your brothers and sisters, as well as animals and plants around you. And of course, one of the main effects a lot of Buddhists are working towards is to get free from craving, to observe the craving without getting identified with it and having the need to follow it. The moment you're mastering this skill, you will also be able to work on your addictions. Because the moment the triggers are coming and you have the power to just sit and to feel what you don't want to feel, you don't have to use the impulse into the addiction to escape from what's actually happening there. You will also see it in simple things in your day-to-day life. For example, if you miss the bus when you go to work, a lot of us are getting irritated or angry and acting out on that in a negative way on the people around us. But if you trained your mind and you observe this pattern, you can distance yourself from that. You can observe it, and without acting out on that, you can just use this extra time for something beautiful instead of sitting somewhere with frustration. So what's actually the way to meditate? First of all, you need to learn how to sit. For this, it's really important to sit straight. The Buddha was recommending to do meditation always in a sitting position and never in a lying one. The reason for that is that when we lie, we have an association with sleep, and a lot of us will just fall asleep during the meditation. So sit up straight. You can sit in the common sitting position, but there are also other variations that are almost equally good. If you get feelings of discomfort, you can also change this position to another one. Then before you start the meditation, you create this moment of reflection where you're trying to realize that you're about to meditate. This might sound a little stupid first, but if you start practicing that, you will soon understand the value of setting an intention for something you're about to do. Then you start closing your eyes and you listen within. You can ask yourself for the first moments, how am I actually doing today? What's going on inside of me? What kind of thoughts are there? What kind of sensations in my body are present? And then after 1 or 2 minutes, you start softening your gaze until you finally close your eyes. And slowly you shift your awareness to your breath. And here comes the tricky thing. The goal is not to control your breath, to breathe into the stomach or to breathe deeper. It's more about observing your breath the way it is. If it's rapid or slow, it doesn't matter. Just see things for how they are and not try to make them better or improve them. And it will feel really tempting because we all know we should breathe deeper, breathe in our tummy. But no, start to see things the way they are. And if you have some resistance to this, you can also watch this resistance for a moment. And now we start with the actual technique. To be honest, this is one of my own creations. In the Buddhist philosophy, they start with a focus point. For example, the sensations that you feel in your body with each inhale. For this you can focus on your nostrils and you can feel when you inhale that there is cold air flowing in your nose, and when you exhale there's a certain sensation of the tip of your nose which feels like warm air exiting your body. But what I learned is that most of us cannot hold this focus for a long time. Therefore, I developed a technique that builds up on this. So we start with counting the breaths in a specific way. In the first round, you're counting every inhale and every exhale. So you inhale 1, you exhale 2. You inhale 3, you exhale 4. And you do that until you reach 10. Once you master this, you go one step further. You count only every inhale. So you inhale 1, exhale. Inhale 2, exhale. Inhale 3, exhale. And you do this again until you reach 10. After this, you do one breath at a time, but you only count every second breath. So you inhale 1, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale 2, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale 3. And this you also do until you reach 10. And once you master this, you leave always a break of 2 breaths. So you inhale the first breath, you count 1, and then you do 2 normal breaths. And the third breath, you call again with the 2. You can see it here in the picture. The important part here is that you will get lost. Some of you will count until 14, until you realize that you counted too far, or you forgot what was the last number. Every time you notice this, you start again with 1, and you will feel a certain resistance to this, because we're always in this mindset of achieving something. We want to complete this row, or we want to reach a certain amount of breaths. But the practice here is to let go of this resistance and to just go back to 1 without even questioning it, without resisting it. And if there's resistance, if it's present, just observe it. Try not to identify with this resistance and start to go into certain thinking patterns of maybe I should meditate longer, maybe I'm not good enough. Whatever comes up, just see it for what it is and let it go. And that counts for all the things that are happening to you during that meditation. Most commonly, you will have a lot of thoughts coming in. But it can also be that there are some sensations on your body, or that you're hearing some noises. You might hear the engine of a car driving by, and you realize your mind is classifying that noise into there is a car driving by, maybe it's this person. The moment you start realizing this, observe it. There is thinking and there is hearing, and then let it go. In the beginning, it's recommended to do this practice for at least 5 to 10 minutes. And then over time, you can start gradually building it up. But if you set the goal for 1 week, every day in the morning after waking up, before you grab your phone, you do this kind of meditation for 5 minutes. And in the second week, you do it for 6 minutes, and you can slowly build up to 20 or 30 minutes, whatever you want to do. You will see the changes in your day-to-day life. And the key is here, like in everything else, consistency. A lot of you will think now, okay, I'm gonna do half an hour or 1 hour, but you cannot keep up this pace. Tomorrow you will feel tired, you will not do it. So it's better to start low, to start with 5 minutes a day. That's totally enough for the beginning. But try to be consistent. Try to see it as a training. And the most important thing is to slowly, gradually bring this meditation technique from the pillow into your day-to-day life. Every action you're doing, if you're washing dishes, try to do it a little bit slower. Try to feel, how does this moment actually feels? What am I doing with my hands? Or when you're walking, try to feel into the connection between your feet and the floor. How does it feel to walk? Is my weight right distributed? Try to get a sense of what's happening below your feet. And those small practices will add up over time, and it will get much more easy for you to practice for a longer time your meditations. So in other words, meditation is not about becoming someone new. It's remembering who you actually are. And the main point is to recognize the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Now you have the knowledge about how to meditate, but do you also have the wisdom to apply it in your day-to-day life? And would it be such a bad idea to stop watching your screens for a couple minutes and sit down now on a pillow and meditate for a couple of minutes? Feel free to share your experience with meditation in general in the comments. And having that said, may you be safe and warm, and may you live happily in peace.